Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Great. Welcome to this public event. My name is Vanessa Crichton and I'm chairman of UKIP West London branch. And this event has been organised by UKIP West London. We're very pleased to have Nigel Farage here this evening to talk to us about the European Union and Britain's role within it. I am sure Nigel needs no introduction to most of you, but as a bit of background, he's a founding member of the UK Independence Party and its present leader for the second time, and has been MEP since 1999. His speeches in the European Parliament attract a great deal of attention. I don't know whether any of you have looked at it on YouTube, and he is renowned for speaking his mind. I give you Nigel Farage, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me loud and clear? Yes. Good. If I get rid of that, can you still hear me loud and clear? Yeah. Good. We'll dispense. Sorry? No. Gosh, the heckling starts early in West London, doesn't it? Vanessa, thank you for that short, accurate and kind introduction. And it's a pleasure to be here. Looking at these faces here, I feel rather more at home. And I suspect I may have a rather friendlier audience than I normally have in Strasbourg once a month when I get up to do my bit. I think it's probably quite fair to say that with Mr. Barroso and Herman Van Rompuy, I am not necessarily flavour of the month. But how I did enjoy my last speech in the European Parliament, when I was able to hold up a photograph of the President of Europe hugging Colonel Gaddafi, a picture taken as recently as mid-December, and I did say to the President that I'd never seen him looking so happy in his life, because he's not exactly known for his humour, is he, old Rumpy Pumpy? I sort of asked whether Gaddafi was an old drinking mate of his. So comfortable did they seem together. And yet, the last time when I met Rumpy Pumpy, last Friday, he said we must get rid of Gaddafi, regime change is what the mission's all about. So that's EU hypocrisy for you. I have to say that when Vanessa said that I've been a member of the European Parliament since 1999, it worries me a little bit because that's a lot of years, isn't it? But I'll tell you this, when we founded this party, we founded it in the wake of the failed rebellion in the House of Commons over the Maastricht Treaty. And to be fair, there were 26 Tory MPs that took it to the wire and opposed it on the third reading. And it then went on to the House of Lords, and Richard Bradford was there in that debate. And there was an amendment down in the House of Lords for the British people to have a referendum on that Maastricht Treaty. And Major and his friends dragged out the backwoodsmen, people who'd not been to the House of Lords for 40 years, to oppose that amendment. And in the wake of this treaty, we formed the UK Independence Party. And we were thought to be a pretty eccentric lot. And I remember just 6 weeks after the party had been formed, the Conservative Member of Parliament for Eastleigh, one Stephen Milligan, died in rather strange circumstances. Older members of the audience will remember. It was the orange in the mouth and the thing round the neck and my lady's stockings. Although as an old Wykehamist client of mine said to me the next morning, don't condemn a man for that. And there we were. We had a political party. We'd been going for 6 weeks and there was a by-election. So I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I will be UKIP's first ever candidate, and I was. And I stood in the Eastleigh by-election. And I can tell you tonight, with great pride, that by the huge majority of 48 votes, I managed to beat the leader of the official monster raving loony party, David Such. So we didn't quite come last in the Eastleigh by-election. But if you fast forward over a few years, you take us to the June 2009 European elections, where UKIP, this little party that was mocked, derided, or ignored, came from nowhere, and we came second. in June 2009 in the European elections across the entire United Kingdom, which I think is something that is an unprecedented event in British political history, and I was very proud to lead the party to that result. Thereafter, I decided that I would take a break from the leadership and pursue some other adventures, which ended fairly dramatically on May the 6th last year. So Vanessa, when you said you were pleased that I was here this evening, I can assure you, not as pleased as I am to be here this evening. I've come back to my job, and what is happening now with UKIP is that potential that we've shown in European elections, where people have tended to lend us their vote for that election, but go back to their normal party for a local election or a general election. What is now happening is increasingly people are saying, no, we are UKIP voters, and we will vote UKIP in all forms of elections. And I must say, it was a great fun night in Barnsley just a few weeks ago to see the faces of the Liberal Democrats, but even better, to see the faces of the Tories. They looked absolutely downcast, and there they were with their big rosettes, and of course the new Tory logo, which is this, well, it looks a little bit like a sprig of broccoli, doesn't it? I'm not quite sure. Was it vote blue, go green? Or, my goodness only knows what it all means. But I did suggest to them that perhaps they should change the logo and have a wind turbine there instead, just to finish off their popularity once and for all. I think what's interesting is that for most of UKIP's life, we have had a Labour government. And millions of people out there who may naturally have supported many of the things that we've stood for have said, well, Nigel, we agree with you. You're absolutely right, but we can't vote for you because we want to get Labour out and we want to get the Conservatives in. And they saw that as a bigger priority than voting UKIP. And in fact, since 2005, people have been saying to me, yeah, Nigel, but you know, just wait till David gets in. That's what they used to say. Just wait till David gets in. You'll see what a good Eurosceptic, patriotic leader of this country he will be. Well, David is in, isn't he? And, or should I call him Cast Iron Dave? The man that wrote in the Sun newspaper that he would give a cast iron guarantee that a Conservative government would give us a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty, and then failed to do so. He, of course, is in coalition with the party that had been the protest party over the last few years, the Liberal Democrats, led by the incredibly colourless Nick Clegg. It's one of the nicer things I can say about him, really. And they've lost all faith, especially with your generation, you know, because this was the guy that stood there with the pledge. He was going to help to reduce student fees, or certainly not vote for an increase in student fees, and he has in fact helped to support a trebling in student fees. And I think we've lost faith in this country, quite rightly in my opinion, with virtually the entire political class. The reason that 75% of our laws are now made in Brussels, the reason that we're now going to have to give prisoners the vote, the reason that young girls will have to pay 25% more on their car insurance premiums, the reason that our net contribution to the European Union will double next year, the reason for all of this is not because somewhere in Brussels there is some evil figure, some Donald Pleasance type character from the James Bond movies, stroking a white cat and plotting the downfall of Britain. Please, when you hear these conspiracy theories, throw them into the bin. That isn't the reason we're in this mess. We're in this mess because virtually an entire generation of British politicians have given away the rights, liberties and freedoms of this country. That's why we're in the mess we're in.